Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I tell you what, folks. Yeah, Bruce, you are right. A lot of Texans are staying home, but we have a lot of canvassers out there. I'm going to play you a video in a little bit with a group out there that's really doing their job to really get people out there to vote, because we need to vote, people. We need to vote. We need to save our democracy. We need to save our democracy. There are a lot of canvassers going out there doing their thing. So I'm going to show you a few of those pictures on the screen in a little bit. But anyhow, welcome aboard Eric Hayes, Lee Grant, Bridge MCP, E2247, Paul Fleming, Bruce Pollard. We also have in the house E2247. We also have AVQ, El Senor Rodnin. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. It's going to be a great show, folks. I just want to show you, I was like extremely happy when I went out with these. I didn't do the block walking. I just went to get some interviews from these very hard workers. Here is a picture of this great group out there. They're doing their thing, man. I was so proud to call myself, hey, these are what our peeps are doing. Let me blow it up some. This is what our peeps are doing, man. Is that beautiful or what? Is that beautiful or what? This is just one of many groups called Clubs in Action. This particular one was the Humble Area Democrats, which is run by John Cotter, the airline pilot that visits with us quite often. Well, that's their picture, and that's him on the far right, that one of our great supporters here at KPFT. And of course, we have groups like TOPS that are out there doing the best they can to make sure that people go out there and vote. So Bruce, in as much as a lot of folks haven't voted yet, we have a lot of canvassers out there that are really trying to get folks out there to vote. So the canvassers are doing the job to really attract people, give them a reason to vote. Let them know that their vote matters. It counts. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. We got to keep that in their heads. Anyway, from El Senor, let me go ahead and back to our original screen. From El Senor Rodnin, coming up, I'm going to read these real fast. Reuters, New York judge orders Donald Trump's company will get a watchdog to ensure no fraud. Judge Arthur Engorong called appointing a monitor the most prudent and narrowly tailored mechanism to ensure that there's no further fraud or illegality, citing persistent misrepresentations in Trump's statements of financial condition from 2011 to 2021. No further, If we got a judge saying this, Trump's legal team is worried. What I find ironic is that they found out that these guys are thugs, and still yet they're not in jail. They're just putting somebody to watch them. Just watch them. Sad. In America, anyhow. Vanity Fair. Donald Trump might announce White House run on the day he's scheduled to testify before January 6th committee. Yep, this is no coincidence. Trump is trying to delay his indictment by starting a new presidential run. It's 2015 all over again. Thus, legal tactics have always been to delay. Stop giving Trump extensions to the deadline and indict him on felony counts for obstruction of justice and contempt of Congress, as any other citizens would have since he's been charged. I don't care if he starts running for judge. They'll just have to forget about that quasi rule, because this guy's been tricking, stealing, thugging the whole way. Anyway, Daily Beast from Michael Rodnin. Musk bans impersonation after parody. Ellen's flood Twitter. Comedian Kathy Griffin, Sarah Silverman, and Mad Men star Rich Sommer were among those already suspended by the billionaire, who promised unfettered free speech absolutism and the decriminalization of comedy. The parody bans follow and apparently contradict an October 28th promise from Musk that no major content decision would occur before the formation of a content moderation council with widely diverse viewpoints. Elon Musk demands parody accounts be labeled as such, even though all of those accounts have parody in the tab on the background, and the demand parody accounts be labeled in their names is something he demanded after banning them. Elon Musk also said that permanent bans were only for bots and spammers, yet he going after political opponents such as Elon. Elon Musk is so thin-skinned that he can't even take jest at this. Elon Musk is a joke. All right. I hate the way the media plays him up like he's such an intelligent person. He's so smart. Look, he's not a dumb person, but Musk's achievements were done on the backs of other engineers and scientists. It drives me crazy when we go ahead and put people, and I like Bill Gates. I think Bill Gates tries to be good, but we like to put these guys on pedestals as if their intellect is unparalleled. The truth of the matter is, I know quite a few people much more intellectually savvy than brother Gates and others. Hey, and we have them right in the room. Bruce Pollard is one of them. Okay, So look, I am not very impressed with these guys that the media likes to play out as these great scientists. They're not scientists. Their scientists are the ones doing the work. Okay. Let's really understand how these things really play out. These guys are not like, oh, great scientists. No, they're not. They're businessmen. They're very good at capitalism. But capitalism required a certain amount of psychopathy, right? Because for you to be able to say, let the market dictates, and you take money out of the pockets of a mother who is trying to take a child to a ballet dance or to a kid to a baseball or soccer game by charging them what you can for gasoline, that's psychopathy. That's a psychopath. They may want to call it capitalism or whatever the market will bear. That's a psychopath. I mean, you look at somebody like Costco, and he's a good free market, from what I've understand so far. Good free market guy, pays his employee a darn good salary compared to Sam's Warehouse. Gets a few products, give them at a fair price. His gasoline is always dropped as fast as possible. I'm not saying the guy is some saint or whatever, but I mean, that's what business is all about. The old days when business used to be, I want to make a profit to take care of my family. I'm not trying to sucker people from not doing any work, like oil company executives who do no work but get most of the money, or shareholders of these companies who get stock buybacks, etc., and don't do anything. So please, let's have some perspective. All right, Toronto, CP24. Kiev prepares for winter with no heat, water, or power. The mayor of Kiev, Ukraine's capital, is warning residents that they must prepare for the worst this winter if Russia keeps striking the country's energy infrastructure. And that means having no electricity, water, or heat in the freezing cold cannot be ruled out. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said, "We are doing everything to avoid this, but let's be frank. Our enemies are doing everything for the city to be without heat, without electricity, without water, energy supply in general, so we all die. And the future of the country and the future of each of us depends on how prepared we are, supply in general, so we all die." And the future of the country, on prepared we are different situations. Russia has focused on striking Ukraine's energy infrastructure over the last month, causing power shortages and rolling outages across the country. Kiev was scheduled to have hourly routing blackouts Sunday in parts of the city and surrounding regions. Ukraine's state-owned energy operator, Ukrenergo, said blackout Sunday in parts of the city and the surrounding regions. I repeat that. Rolling blackouts also are planned in the nearby Chernihiv and Cherkasy, Zhytomyr, Sumy, Kharkiv, and Poltava regions. War is a horror. Yes, it is, Michael. But also, I think those are war crimes. But it's amazing how we give deference to war criminals and people who put out war. And then we have somebody defending their parents or their wife or something, and somebody gets hurt and that's the worst person in the world. All right, last one from Michael Rudnin, El Señor, Texas Tribune. GOP Congressman Dan Crenshaw says election deniers know they're lying. But you know what? He gets on my nerves because he was not given that straight of an answer recently. It's just now that our candidate has started to catch him in the race that he's now talking, right? We have a young woman. Oh wow, she's my friend, and I can't. How do I? How did I not say her name? Crenshaw against versus who again? Robin. How did I forget Robin's name? Robin Fulford. Robin, our friend from Kingwood area Democrats, is running against Crenshaw, right? And that's by the way, Crenshaw is my congressman, CD2 Texas, and her votes are starting to look good. We'll see what happens in the general, but anyway. Speaking with former congressional candidate and election reform advocate Nick Trujani on his podcast, Hold These Truths, the Texas Republican said fellow members of his party were merely trying to signal their disapproval of former President Donald Trump's loss, but knew there was no real mechanism to overturn it. Still, he warned that messaging could be dangerous to lead to voters losing faith in the electoral process. It was always a lie. The whole thing was always a lie, and it was a lie meant to rile people up. Crenshaw said deriding some of these peers as political personalities rather than politicians. He did not name the members he was referring to. This extreme willingness to say the most extreme things just to grab people's attention and then people's willingness to believe some of it. Crenshaw said in a podcast, there just doesn't seem to be a limit to how some people are willing to go. There was no evidence of this widespread voter fraud that could undermine. Why is he doing it now? It's great that he's saying it, but why is he doing it now? He could have changed the trajectory of a lot in Texas if he had said that long time ago. All right, E2247 says, if you miss me in the cotton fields, you can't find me nowhere. Come on over to the courthouse. I'll be voting right there. You go, E2247. Go vote, my brother. Bridge MCP says, hey, peeps. Good talking to you. Lee says, Bridge. I voted, but think there may be many Texans who don't. That's from Bruce. Paul Fleming checking in. Hello, Paul Fleming. Eric Hayes says Harris County is electing a new county judge this year. We'll see about that. I think it's almost a certainty that Lina Hidalgo will be reelected, especially what a lot of us are doing to make sure that the truth gets out. We're blunting the lies. Lee Grant is in the house. He says, I just don't think democracy itself is really on the ballot. If you don't think somebody who says they want to have the state overturn the will of the people, if they deem that it wasn't a fair election. I mean, we had 60-something judges say all the fraud cases that were brought were really junk. But these guys want the opportunity at the legislative level to say, we don't want to make that election valid. We will send another set of electors. But that's not it only. And they mean for any particular election. I'm sorry, Lee Grant. That to me says democracy is on the table. And by the way, folks, we had a wonderful Ask Egberto Anything. We had a great balance of people. We had Lee Grant in the house. We had Eric Hayes in the house. We had Bridge MCP in the house. We had Lee Ledo in the house. We had Tom C in the house. We had Nanette Bird Smith in the house. We had who else was in the house? With our girl, Nanette and Lee. I forgot. God, sometimes my brain gets fried when I'm in my you know what, right? Lee Grant is wanting to call us Muscophobia. No, it's not Muscophobia at all, sir. It's not Muscophobia. They've already found Alistair Waters. Thank you, Bridge. Alistair Waters. All right, continuing. Bridge MCP, no, that's a conversation between Bridge and somebody else. Bridge says, good for you, Peggy. Let's see what else we got here. Bridge says, Michael Rudnin and Eric COVID killed over 1 million Americans, and you're madder at Bill Gates, who promoted vaccination, than Trump. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. But hey, that, ideology can make you crazy. Let's see what else we got here before I go to the first. Tom C says, yay, Bridge, his blood libel, BS made by Blood Boy. BS made, I know, hey, Tom, I saw you got upset, but what I tried to do with our group, right, is let folks be themselves. Let them go out there and say whatever they want. And then you can refute it. And just say, when folks say things that make one seem that they're sick, assume that's the case. And you won't hurt, or you won't yell or get too mad at your child if they had a particular illness, right? So that's how I'm able to keep myself calm. That's what I work on. It took me a long, long time. Anybody, the people who know me now, don't believe I'm the same guy from 25 years ago. Because as a hothead radical, if you don't get it, I was in your skin, and I learned that wasn't the way to be. So that's my story. All right, let's see what else we got here. Michael says, Egberto, most conservatives vote on voting day, not only voting, not mail-in vote. So any commentary before election day might sway them. True. But here's the funny thing about it. Those guys are going to max their votes out. If the conservatives max their vote out and we max our vote out, I'm talking about progressives now, they lose because there are more of us. There are more progressives because most people want, and even some of those conservatives. Lee Grant, my brother Lee Grant, he gives us a hard time with some of the things that he says. Some of the things he says make a hell of a lot of sense. I'm with him on college campuses. I'm with him on sometimes progressive takes things to the limit as far as political correctness, etc. One of the things that, let me give an example. I still use Latino and Latinas. Yo soy Latino. I'm not going to have some American progressive out here come and tell me, well, the right thing to say is Latinx. No. Yo soy Latino y mi hermana es Latina. Okay? If you want to use Latinx, feel free. It's a free country. But don't destroy my character, my being, for being who we are in Latin America, which is we somos Latinos. Okay? Así es la vida. Así es la vida. Okay. So that's where we're at. Right now, what we're trying to do is the same thing Republicans are trying to do. Everybody's trying to maximize their votes right now. I don't want anybody to not vote. I want everybody to take responsibility for their vote. Because if for some reason Republicans take over, I will remind them as the negative things occur that it is their fault. I know, Eric, brain fart does hurt. And I get a lot of them. I have so many things going on at the same time. So yeah, I get a lot of them. Heritage.org is not a good source. And let me tell you why, Lee Grant. What they have done with green energy is horrendous. What they've done as far as the data. What they've done with the data. That's what I'm talking about, Lee. How they've spun Black Lives Matter. How they've spun those different issues, right? It's really terrible. It's nothing more than a propaganda engine. And that's why, it's nothing more than a propaganda engine. All right, Michael Ryan says, Center for Politics, Secretary of State races, election deniers carry GOP banner in several key states. Several top battlegrounds feature competitive races in these newly prominent races. True. All right, Paul Fleming says, if you can't tell that Trump's a con man, then congratulations, you the mark. And Breach says, we talk Texas, but the New York governor race is wild. New York governor race getting national attention. The race for New York governor between Governor Kathy Hochul and Congressman Z. Zeldin is a close one. I don't believe it's that close. I think that's Republican polls that are skewing it. It could come down to a surprise to many, considering that Democrats outnumber Republicans 2.2 to 1. Both candidates are doubling down on New York City to gain support. Hochul greeted commuters on the Upper West Side of Manhattan Monday, and Zeldin spoke with people on the subway station. In the Bronx, the race is close, and it could come down to last-minute undecided voters. I have a hard time, especially in the times of Trump and what they've done to New York, to see any Republican in the overall state. I'm not talking about in pockets, in the overall state win. So here's my theory, and I want to see if I'm going to be wrong or right. I say she wins by at least 6 points. At least 6 points is what I think Hochul will win by. I'll find out tomorrow night. And by the way, it seems like I'm going to be on the radio between 6 and 8 tomorrow night at KPFT. So I'm off to drive back into KPFT tomorrow again, I think. But Amy Goodman is going to take over our station at 8, which is 9 Eastern. So I'll be on between 6 and 8. so far. That's what it looks like. All right, let's see. Gene Daigle says Trump is the grifter in chief. You're absolutely right. Trump is also a pure narcissist. You're absolutely right. And continuing, we got Michael Renner says Latinx was an idea aimed for inclusivity that was not accepted by the group it was meant to promote. Ditch the term. Latinos say they don't like it. We don't. There are a few of them, most of them that were reared here that like it. But our language has gender, right? Our language has gender. So it's Latino, Latina. And when we're talking about something, depending on how we use it, Latinos talk about the entire group. And it's not a male-dominated anything or whatever. That's just how it is. All right, Gene Daigle says, Paul, this one's for you. He has something on the screen. If you can't tell that Trump, I like that one. I like that one, Rudnan. Let's go ahead and put it on the screen. Rudnan got us a good one for the screen. And that is, if you can't tell that Trump is a con man, guess that makes you the mark. Trump, I think everybody that's currently in this room knows that Trump is a con man. Bree says, I've literally spoke with Lee Zeldin. He was from my place. You told me that story. That was a great story. And let's see what else we got here. Deborah Moyer says, es la verdad. Así corazoncita. Eso es la verdad. And Michael also says, I don't know, Monticello, research, education, Thomas Jefferson, encyclopedia, all tyranny needs gain footholds, quotation. All right. Leftists love to manipulate the language. You know what? Lee Grant, I love you, but both sides do that with language. And I actually think the Republicans are much better at it than we are. Meaning, when I say we, I mean progressives. But I expect you to join the progressive fold in the long run, Lee. Because especially after talking to you in the sort of in the flesh this weekend and realizing that you were actually a damn good person, to which I know Bridge MCP and others in the room that are very progressive agree with. It was like, you make a lot of sense. We still disagree on quite a few things that we think we can maybe come to some consensus on. But you're a good guy, man. But I always knew that, though, Lee. I always knew that. All right. Let's continue here with Danny Norris says, Dems really should turn the crime rhetoric on its head and remind everyone that their top guy, Trump, has multiple criminal investigations pending. I mean, there are a lot of things Democrats should have done that they didn't do. So you're right, Danny A. Norris. You're absolutely right. Also, the local Dems need to keep reminding folks that the GOP commissioners didn't show up and effectively cut the budget. I think I've done that several times. In other words, the Republicans, the Republicans are the ones who defunded the police here in Harris County because they didn't show up to work. So we had to go back to the old thing. Anyhow, folks, let's go to our first video because I'm excited with what our area Democrats are doing, and I understand it's reflected throughout the country. So let's go ahead and play. First of all, my good friend who plays a big part in organizing this particular event. Love this guy.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. I got a little bit of news. Some of the numbers have been coming back. Everybody here with the Humble Group, I want you all to give yourself a hand. Yesterday, we crossed 5,000 doors. Part of our greater effort, we're part of the Clubs in Action, which is the county-wide effort. Everything that we're doing here is being done across the county. Same messaging, the signs, everything targeted to the districts. CIA countywide yesterday, 273,000 doors knocked. Nice. 1.9 million phone calls.
There we go.
And a little teeny tiny tidbit for anybody in CD2, Robin Fulford running against Dan Crenshaw. So I talked to Robin last night, and she sent me a little bit of information comparing 18 to 20 to 22. And this is CD2 only numbers. And right now, if you look at 18, Democrats had about 30,000. I'm just going to round the numbers. Republicans, 108. 28,000, and unaffiliated was 12,000. So if you add the Democrats and the unaffiliated together, it's about 42 compared to 108. That was in 2018. We had a good year in 2018. 2020, presidential year, 54,000 Democrats, 181,000 Republicans, and 27 unaffiliated. We're narrowing the gap a little bit. And I'm making assumptions here on the unaffiliated are, maybe voting our way. Now, 2020, because I know Alberto was talking about, are we worried about it? Some people get deflated. We see some numbers. Turnout's not what it was before. CD2. So whoever's good at public math. Democrats, 40,000. Unaffiliated, 28,400. That's like 68,000 something. Republicans, 69,000.
Wow.
So
CD2 right now, based on the numbers that Robin's getting, is that close.
That's close.
So that's why what we're doing is so important. Get everyone out to vote.
It's going to make a difference. It could be down to, we don't want it to be, it could be down to one vote.
Yeah.
So it's important. So thank you all so much for coming out and making these numbers happen. It's this effort, it's a countywide effort that are making these happen. It's because of you guys.
Thank you.
We and those guys have really been pumping the county, working the county very hard. Bridge, I'm not sure what you're asking about. I thought you said one of them was KPFT. Maybe I missed a comment up front or something like that. But if you ask me the full question, I'm going to answer what you have, what you've asked. All right, folks. Remember, if you are going out now, I'm not at KPFT. I'm at my home studio. So here's the deal. At this studio, because this one isn't nonprofit, I can give advice. And here's the advice that I'm giving. Right now, we have a Alexandra Miller that is running as a Republican to run the county, or Lina Hidalgo, the incumbent, who is running as a Democrat to run the county. She has been exceptional in that she has taken no money from these big corporations that want to buy them their way into all the services for the county. She has instituted education programs. She has instituted flood control for places in Harris County that are usually ignored. She has, unlike what they're saying, she has very much funded the police very effectively. She has done all these things. But if you watch the news in Houston, what you begin to hear are lies about the crime that's occurring on the streets from judges releasing, and they try to tie all these. They don't tell you that a county judge is not really a judge in the court. So they want you to look at it in a fuzzy way, as if somehow Lina Hidalgo has something to do with crime. She does not. That somehow she has something to do with the judges releasing, not convicts, but releasing defendants on bail. She doesn't. That is a Texas law. So here is the deal, what I have to say. And by the way, she received no money from corporations, while Alexandra Miller has gotten 8.6, and thank you for correcting me from earlier today, Eric. She has received $8.6 million from developers, or Mattress Max, and all these folks here in town. She is owned. She is bought and owned. Why do you think builders are going to give her millions of dollars? People who want to build in our flood zones and screw the people of Harris County. They've already done much of that under the previous administration, right? Building in the Barker Cypress and the Addicts Reservoir, where nobody should have lived. It should just be a place to collect water that then flows out of Buffalo Bayou slowly after our big storms. But no, that didn't happen. So how dare us even consider electing Alexandra Miller? Houston and Harris County will not. But for those who don't quite know, I'm informing you, the person to vote for is Lina Hidalgo. If those folks who are just looking for folks they respect, folks they trust. For those of you who trust me, who will be listening to this tonight in the podcast, etc., the person that I voted for, the person that I'm supporting for Harris County Judge is Lina Hidalgo. The judges that I'm supporting, and you have to vote the entire ballot. You must vote the entire ballot or else we lose. Go into that place and we are voting for every single Democratic judge. There's no more push one button and you get all Democrats. And the reason we must do this is to save our democracy. All of those judges who are running against these Democrats that lied on their ads, because that's what they did. They lied. Earlier today on KPFT, I had the past Gina Kalani was on. She is a former Texas state representative. She researched all the ads that showed this criminal was released or whatever, and it turned out the biggest one that was committed 6 or 7 crimes and was released. All the times that he was released were by Republican judges, and when she released him on a $15,000 bond, she released him to the, guess what, psychiatric wards. She released him to the psychiatric wards because unlike the other judges, the Republican judges that just released him to the street on $5,000 bonds, on a couple of $50,000 bonds and other smaller bonds, as opposed to doing that, she said this guy needed help and she released him to a hospital. Okay? And after the hospital, because Dan Patrick and these guys do not support health care for the mind, mental illness. They don't support, they claim, those killers are mentally ill, so don't blame the gun. But still, they don't support mental illness payments, mental illness insurance of any consequence. So if you want to know who caused crime in Harris County and throughout the red states that continuously have guns and guns and guns, it is Republican policy. I am not asking this. I am not just throwing this out there. As they put more guns on the streets of Texas, we have more people shooting each other up. We just had a rapper got killed by gun again. We just had somebody passing a car and shooting. We had another robbery that occurred. And this guy who just happened to have a gun in his car because Greg Abbott says, yes, you can carry a gun. He went ahead and started shooting. And while trying to shoot the robber, a car is passing and he murdered a little child in that car. And when he got taken to jail, he got no bail. Why? Because in Texas, it's legal for everybody to have a gun. And he just made a mistake. He was trying to kill a criminal. If you want to know why crime is high, look at Republican policy that has flooded the gate with guns. And they don't care about you. They're flooding the system with guns. People getting hurt with their own guns, but they don't have health insurance because the state is allowing companies to get them killed, but won't allow good insurance to get them cured. Right? We have to start thinking with our heads. You don't have good insurance to cure yourself, but we have a lot of guns to support the gun manufacturers and everybody else. So let's be very cognizant. Don't blame the judges for the increase in crime. Don't blame Lina Hidalgo for the increase in crime. Blame the Republican policies effected by the Republican politicians in Austin. And guess what? If you really want to cure this problem, if you really want to solve this problem, you can. And how do you do it? You vote every single one of them out and put people into Congress, put people into the Texas legislature who are willing to make sure and curb guns to prevent them from hurting and killing people. We have so many kids that got killed with a gun in the home. We had so many innocent folks that used it in a time of passion. So, folks, I repeat, don't buy into it. We have a derelict media that simply does not put the truth out. It's as if they're bought by the right. And again, all right, Tom C says, West, Twitter may be yours, but Twitter belongs to Elon Musk, and nobody knows what the hell to do next. I tell you what, I think he's going to destroy it. Somebody else is going to have to come and buy it rather quickly. Somebody is going to have to come and buy it pretty quickly. Because I tell you what I think. I think all the employees are going to run away. Every single one of those employees, I guarantee you, is looking for a job. And all his intellectual knowledge is going to leave. Watch. Watch that happen. All right. Gene Daigle says, Mike says, conservatives harp about mental illness when it comes to gun reform, then don't fund mental health care. That's what they do. Gene Daigle says if Republicans wanted mental health, the first thing they would have done is expand Medicaid under the ACA instead of blocking billions of dollars going into the state. Let me tell you worse than that, man. Fiscal responsibility demanded that we take the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care. And that Beto O'Rourke is saying that over and over and over again. I would hope it starts to resonate to especially the people in rural areas whose hospitals closed, whose emergency rooms closed, who died because they had a longer distance to travel to an emergency room. Because there's no Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care, which make a lot of those rural hospitals where people must have Medicaid moot, you know? But again, that's why we're here, people. That's why we have politics done right. We are here to inform, and it'll take time, but we'll get the job done. It'll take time, but we'll get the job done. No, Egberto, the rapper was in an argument at a club. Hey, Bridge MCP, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you for all you do and for our smart PDR posse, which I know includes left and right. Love all. Again, that was always my goal, Bridge. I didn't want us to be just a whole bunch of progressives having the same thought process and not being able to think, get other things in. I am a true progressive. You know who I am. I believe in a lot of social programs. I believe government must be bigger than the largest corporations. I believe it must be bigger than several corporations because we can never allow we the people to be governed by those the few. And if you have a whole lot of corporations, you're being governed by those the few. It's supposed to be we the people. So I believe in a perfectly bifurcated economy where we the people, that one big corporation, we the people, is our we the people. And then all those other appendages are private companies, etc., etc., etc. We missed you, Melanie Keelan from Ask Egberto, but you know what? We'll have it again. And you know what? When things get slower, meaning that I am less stressed, I'll have more than one a month because I really enjoyed our discussion on Saturday. Again, sometime it got heated. I know Tom got a little pissed off a few times, but if the one thing we get out of these meetings is that we are talking to each other, all of us are talking, and not only talking, but agreeing on certain things. And you'll find that some progressives disagree among each other. Some progressives and right wingers would believe in would agree on certain things, and while other two progressive, I mean, it was just America, right? And that's what we want. That's what we want. And that's why I ask all my conservatives folks, I give them a hard time. They give me a hard time. I want you to stick around because we are America. Don't ever forget that. We are America. The PDR posse, we are America. Don't forget it. That's who we are. Melanie, yes, Melanie, you are late, but we forgive you because you're in Barcelona. All right, let's see what else. EG is a nice guy, but pure evil. West, do you hate me that much? Do you want me to cry? I don't know. I don't want to cry. Anyhow, I want you to listen to this other video here. And this one is, I want to play the one with the daughter. Let me see if I can find that one with a mom and daughter who, no, that is Anna. I tell you what, let me play Anna first and then we'll move on to the next.
Hey, Ann, how you doing?
Good.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I don't know. What do you want to know?
I want to know why you're out here.
Why am I out here? Oh, my God, because our democracy is at stake.
You know, everybody says our democracy at stake. Is it really at stake, or is this just one other scare tactic?
Oh, no, it's not a scare tactic.
So why is it at stake?
The Republicans retain control of our state, and this is not just in our state, this is, across the nation. They've already said they're going to make it where the Secretary of State decides who wins an election. Is that fair? Not you?
No,
not
actually,
me? Not the number of people that actually...
Tell the folks why it's a bad thing and why they need to get their butts out there and vote.
Why is it a bad thing? How many people have lost their lives fighting for our rights, and now you have somebody that's going to take it away, Republicans, because they think they know better. And it's really not that they know better. It's that they just want to stay in power. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anyone except their own power.
Now, here's the deal. There are more women voters than there are men voters.
Yes.
And right now, women are under attack. Your freedom to choose whatever you want to do is under attack. Why should we be having a problem? Why should inflation overtake your freedom?
Well, first of all, it's not just your freedom. How many women of childbearing years are in the workforce? How many families depend on a woman? It's not like, back in, the 50s where one person could work and raise a family and it was fine. Now you have a husband and wife that work or, whatever. If the woman accidentally has a pregnancy, if the woman is raped, if your child is raped, I have a daughter,
yes.
That can end their future, If someone is not economically prepared to take care of a child, it leads to let's say sometimes you may have child abuse, right. You may have child abandonment, you may have, a number of things. If families aren't prepared, if an individual's not prepared, why would you do that? And then, you have Republicans that are like, oh, no, we'll take care of the kids. They don't
But
care
they never do.
kids.
Right now, they don't take care of anything, right?
They don't take care of anything. They don't really even take care of a woman when she's pregnant. All they care about is having, it's in a way, oppression.
So let's do this. Give a message to every voter that has yet to vote and that's thinking twice before they, I may be too much trouble to go out and form a line.
Yes. Well, I don't know. How about your everyday life? Everything you do is affected by, especially your midterm elections. Presidential elections are important. I'm not going to say they're not. But your judges, your county officials, your state government, they affect your everyday lives. You need to get out there and you need to protect it. They need to work for you. And you need to remember that. It's not just an election. This is their job. If they're not doing their job, that's one thing. But don't just... you just got to get out there.
Anna?
Your life depends on it.
Anna, thank you so kindly.
Absolutely. Anna and those folks are working so hard. I want to play you another one. I think this is the one with the mother and daughter, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Hello, what's your name?
Zephyr.
And yours?
Melissa, this is my youngest.
Now tell me,
first-time voter.
Mother and daughter block walking together? Now, why are you doing that? I don't want to hear from you, Mom. I want to hear from the one who just voted.
They're the one that dragged me here anyway.
Oh, great. Let me hear you.
Well, I think it's really important to get the vote out and make sure that people know when the election is and where they can do it. Because, some people don't know that you can vote anywhere in the county, I think it is, and how to use the new voting machines and all that.
Now, let me ask you something. Because you are young, can I ask you your age?
18.
Now, here's the deal. A lot of 18-year-olds don't have the forethought to go ahead and say, I'm going to form that line and vote. You did. How can you encourage folks your age, a bit older, to actually do that? I mean, I think I know your mother. So judging from your mother, I can imagine that was instilled in you. How can you as a younger person instill it in your peers?
Well, first you have to register, which can be a bit, I know some of my friends couldn't register in time. So you have to do that. I did it at a protest, so it was a lot easier. But we went to Harris Votes and we looked up the wait time, which it said 0 to 15. It was not, but I don't know what to say except just stick it out.
Now, your friends, are they voting?
Most of them are. I think the only ones who haven't with ones that couldn't get registered in time or they forgot.
But they were harassed by them. So
Well, that's good. Now, Melissa, what are your thoughts on the election, though? I mean, right now, if you listen to the news, somewhat would make you feel negative. Actually, I'm still feeling positive. I'm looking at the numbers, and I know John is going to come and talk to us about some numbers in a little bit. I think if we keep the rate going, and if this is replicated throughout the country, I think this is actually going to put it's going to make those polls look kind of silly. Your thoughts on that?
well, you never can tell with polls.
Right.
We know that. Every time, you start counting on polls, they prove us wrong. So voters need to get out and voters need to prove those wrong. So I have hope. I always have hope. And we're just going to do everything we can to get Beto and get everybody else elected so that we can fix our state so that we don't have to move away because we love Texas.
Right.
I've been born and bred Texan, and I want to stay, but I also want it to be safe for my family, for my friends, for my own children, for everyone with a uterus, and that's what we're here for.
We just have to remember Kansas, right? Kansas, it was 4 down, but the election day was plus 19. So, folks, remember that and get out there and vote. Thank you so kindly.
I love Melissa. Melissa and her daughter came out to vote. Very, very, very good. I interview Ruth Ben-Ghiat. Any society can be susceptible to strong man figures if it's the right time. 29 June 2021. I agree. Okay, let's go ahead and do my ask. I'm not going to play the video because I want to just do it in a minute so I can play another video. Anyway, folks, please support us. What we do is, those of you that are regular know what we do. Those of you that just come by here and keep coming and going. What we do is we fill the internet with progressive narratives, with progressive articles, with progressive news. We also write progressive books, as well as we do 10 shows a week, 8 of them live. So, it's a lot of work to get all of this done, but we feel it is necessary. So please support us by either giving us a super chat like Bridge just did. I mean, I thank you, Bridge, for the super chat. You can just click and provide us a super chat, super whatever, or a thank you. There's a thank you button as well that you can do. Alternatively, we take PayPal. You can support us either one time or monthly on PayPal, and there's a link, politicsandright.com/PayPal. You can also support us via Patreon, and I do need some more patrons to get us back over 100. That is politicsandright.com/Patreon, politicsandright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Again, that is spelled Patreon. In YouTube, you can click that join button. There are several ways to support us on YouTube. Join, which means you become a part of the PDR posse on YouTube. You can also hit a super chat or a thank you on YouTube. But if you're not on YouTube right now but want to do it from YouTube, politicsandright.com/YouTube is the link. We have a lot of things like our t-shirts. I don't have my hat here with me. Hats and all kind of stuff. Hoodies, the works. You can get that at our store. How do you get to our store? politicsandright.com/store. politicsandright.com/store. Alternatively, if you want to find if you want to get our books, those books that you see scrolling on my left, then you go to politicsandright.com/books. Those you can pick up all my books at Amazon. And likewise, you can go to support, politicsandright.com/support, for finding all the different ways in which you can really help us keep this thing going. Recently, I placed all our videos, our shows, everything in one location that gives you both a podcast and audio, as well as the videos, all in one place on Spotify. That's its own podcast platform. You can go and get it at politicsdoneright.com/paid podcast. politicsdoneright.com/podcast paid. politicsdoneright.com/podcast paid. And of course, my new book, I have a new chapter out, politicsdoneright.com/tribulations. politicsdoneright.com/tribulations. That's my new book, done one chapter at a time. Okay, one more video. But again, folks, please do find a way, if you definitely can, to support us. One of the reasons progressives have a lot of problem is while the other side is very well funded, right? Our grassroots is not funded. The Republicans or Democrats get a lot of money that they throw on to consultants for some of those major races. But we, the progressives that are trying to get progressive candidates. And I think the reason why they flood certain Democrats with money is to blunt progressives, because they know most Americans want progressive values. But anyway, here is the the fourth tape? Yeah, the fourth tape coming up.
Man, what's your name?
My name's Rhonda Beatty Hill.
Rhonda, you are here doing what? I mean, it's an early Sunday morning. Why aren't you just going out for a jog or having some fun? What's so important about being out here?
Well, it's important to be at church, but my church starts at 5. And I'm here to save our democracy.
Okay, what does that mean, though?
It means that as a person of color, all of our rights are threatened at this time. Many died to give us the right to vote and to participate in our civic duties. We fought, we died. I have relatives. My cousin Emmett Till died. And after that, everything changed for us, and thank God for that. So his death was not in vain. However, I'm out here also for young Black people and older Black people who don't understand how serious this is. They're going to start it with Roe, but they're going to continue. We can wake up one day and this is a very real threat and not be able to vote without all kinds of hoops to jump over.
Rhonda, you are very enlightened because you see something many are not seeing, the slippery slope of the slippery slope of neglect that's bring us right back into complacency and the status quo.
And we think we've already made it, but we never did make it. We never did. If we had made it, George Floyd and others would not be dead today. So at the end of the day, this is a real threat to Black America, Hispanic America,
women
in America, anyone who is not a white male or female, and even many white females are threatened because they can't even choose whether they want to have a family or not in most states going forward. This has to stop. And the only way to continue to fight is, first of all, to vote.
Rhonda, thank you so kindly. I think that's the message.
Absolutely, that's the message. Absolutely, that's the message. Folks, let's see what else we have. E2247 says, what do you think is going to happen to certification of the Electoral College vote? Well, it all depends. If we get some of these crackpots in there, they'll try to do things like send alternative electoral slates, Electoral College slates, etc. Those are the things we got to watch out for. I'm glad you brought that up, though. We have to watch out for that. Michael Rudnin is saying bye-bye about 2 minutes early, but bye-bye, Rudnin. Thank you for bringing your body and your soul to Politics Done Right. Thank you, E2247. Imagine it's January 6, 2025, and the GOP holds the House and Senate and the governorship of key swing states such as Michigan. And you know what they're going to do? Yep, you get that right. Even if they don't know it, they're deciding whether to end or continue the American experiment. That is those who don't opt to vote, says E2247. Michael Rudden says, trying to look up the statistic Mike Cisak posted, only found articles like this instead. Texas poll, 90% say abortion should be permitted in case of rape and incest. Yeah, I mean, the right has no problem lying to its people because it assumes their people won't go ahead and look things up for some objective opinions. That's how little the right think of its own. But you know what? That's what we're here for, man. That is why we are here. We are here to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, solely the truth. That's why we're here. All right, we are coming up to the end of the show. We're at 3:59 right now. I want to ask you one more time to please support the program. I'm going to put 2 links on here. 3 links, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal or politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. And of course, you can find all the different ways to support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. Folks, I cannot do this without your support. I cannot continue this without all of you who continue to ensure that we are somewhat funded. We are still about we're still about 60% unfunded, and we're getting drained. So I ask you so kindly to support us however you can. Again, I would love to get hundreds, thousands of those $2.99 or $4.99 a month support, so that we can really know that this stuff is going to be long lasting. Of course, I'm going to try to get a few more books out that to help offset this as well. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this. Baby, love you all. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.